opinions and views expressed in the following program are those of the speakers and the host, and do not necessarily reflect those of Yoakley Scott Corporation and your sports network.
Yeah, I've been closer to Jesus before, so can you help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? But can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look in my soul. I've been afraid I would follow the road. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
Hello, everybody. I am back. It's good to be back in the 330, the 816 to the 330. Spent a week in Kansas City. Loved every minute of it, but good to be back here on Running Point Monday episode, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austin, Denton. And boy, did a lot happen while I was gone, and we're going to talk about it all. We also have a Coach's Corners volleyball season preview with Aaliyah Diamond, the head coach of the Poland Bulldogs volleyball team that is opening up their season tonight in Poland. I will be at that game to broadcast it, so we'll hear her season preview a little bit later on in the show as well. But man, great to be back. I hope you guys enjoyed the week. I know I was definitely able to keep an eye on things. That's a great thing about YSN. You can be anywhere in the country, in the world, and tune into YSN anyway. So I'm sure when DJ looked at the logs, he saw a couple of Kansas City, Missouri hits on there because I was definitely watching. And a lot of great things happened. We had football kickoff week 1 on Friday. A lot of great scores for sure, and a lot of excitement around football, and it kind of exploded on that Friday for week 1. Let's look at the scores. The scoreboard page this year brought to you by Burnett Pools, a wonderful sponsor for YSN. We thank them for their coverage and their sponsorship this year. And let's look at this football scoreboard for Friday, week 1. And how about Fitch? This is the first one on tap, the first one on the far left corner you see. I'm just going to go down each row, but Fitch goes to Euclid. This was supposed to be a pretty dang competitive game. I know Euclid was definitely excited to play this game. I saw their buzz on social media on TikTok, and they had one of their players coming back from injury, and they were excited about how good they could be. And Fitch just went in and said, "Not today, sir." Deshaun Vaughn Jr. gets his first touchdown of the year in very interesting fashion. A pick six gets him his first touchdown of the season. That set the tone for Fitch in the first quarter, and they ran away from the game from that point on, 40-6. The final score there for the Fitch Falcons getting the win in Euclid. So they are 1-0 on the season, and they'll carry that into next week. Newton Falls and East Palestine, probably the most offensive game that we saw in week 1. Definitely not we had a couple of very competitive games, but most combined points, I believe, if I did the math right, goes to this game. Both offenses were on a point. Newton Falls gets the win, though. 48-34, the final score there. We go to Girard. They went to Jefferson, and the Falcons, the old NE8 rivals, now a non-conference matchup, and Girard gets the win there, 42-21. And when you look at Girard, the name of their game, and I think they put it on full display on Friday night, is the speed that they have on their roster. Their track team is state recognized, and they have so much speed on that team that you cannot overlook. 13 seniors on this team. They have juniors that are going to be loading it up for next year. So Girard is a team that, yes, lost some really good players and lost some really big names from a season ago. Michael Palmer, no longer there, graduated. But the speed on this Girard team was on full display on Friday, and that's going to give a lot of teams in the 88 a lot of problems. And I think Girard's going to be just as, if not better, than they were last year. You'll go down the list. Columbiana and Lowville. This is a game I was so excited to talk about because it was probably the most exhilarating game of the week. It went into overtime, and I'm going to play the highlight that Matt Marr did a wonderful job putting together for this game because, I can only describe it in words, but when you see how this game went, then you will understand just how awesome Lowville and Columbiana was in week 1.
Snaps it back to Spidey. Spidey hands it to Hartley. Hartley rolls into the end zone. Touchdown, Columbiana. On the 5 now.
I believe the penalty was on Lowville.
It was on Lowville, that's right. And here's Kean Hartley right up the middle. Touchdown, Columbiana.
Columbiana. Your screen.
Malone looking to his left, looking, fires to his left. Touchdown, Rockets, Matt Lucido. Quarterback, he takes the snap and he fakes the ball to Ocasio and sends one down the left sideline where it is caught for a touchdown by Matthew Lucido. And there was a push-off. Surjanovic, Hartley next to him. Surjanovic fakes it to Hartley. He's running around left end. Got room. He's to the 10, to the 5, over there, the goal line. Did he get in? Did he get in? Yes! Touchdown, Columbiana, Liam Surjanovic. In overtime, Columbiana up by 7. Here's Malone. Fakes it to Ocasio, and he will pull a Surjanovic. Makes the move to his left, rolls into the end zone. Touchdown, Lowville.
Anything you can do, I can do better.
Point conversion in overtime. The snap to Malone, rolling to his right, looking into the end zone, looking. Clips need to get somebody over. Max Conway is over there. He attempts to make the tackle, does not. Malone finally throws the ball up in the end zone, and it is caught for a touchdown. Unbelievable. Lowville with the win in overtime. We're trying to see who caught the ball.
Can you take a look at that last play just one more time? I mean, my word, was this just awesome.
Tackle does not. Malone finally throws the ball up in the end zone, and it is caught for a touchdown. Unbelievable.
Whoa, and that's not
Lowville
anymore,
with the win in overtime. We're trying to see who caught the ball.
Was wrong. 22-21, you see there the final score. But the last play of the game, oh my word, was that impressive. Malone pulls, a just escape trick out of the hat. That was a 2-point conversion for the win. So, one, you talk about the guts to just say, hey, we're going for 2. We're going to either win or lose on this play. After that great touchdown run about 20 yards out. The guts to do that. But then the play that kid just made for his first career varsity start as a quarterback, to make that play, oh my gosh, that was amazing. Running around the field, going across his body, which is a quarterback no-no, and then making it all work with the catch in the end zone to complete the 2-point conversion and give Lowville that 22-21 win over Columbiana in overtime. An amazing end to that one. And not the only game-ending play, or not the only game-winning play that we saw that night. We'll get to another one here soon. South Range, they went to Springfield, and they dominated this old-school rivalry in the jungle. They christened Springfield's brand-new turf with authority, 41-14. The final score there for the Raiders, and that is the first win for head coach David Rock, who takes over for the legend himself, Dan Yeagley, the third head coach for South Range since in the 1980s. I don't know exactly the year, but Yeagley was there for 23, and now Rock takes over. And South Range doesn't miss a beat. And you're going to play for a guy that cares about the program, played in the program, played under Coach Yeagley, coached with Coach Yeagley, and now coaching the Raiders. There's no better person to go to than someone that knows what the program's about, knows what standards were set. And DJ talked about on Friday in the post game audible call, the post game show, Joe Dickey Electric scoreboard show. those players are going to play hard for Coach Rock, and I think they proved it with a 41-14 victory over Springfield. Springfield, they're not done. They're not out of it by any means. If you sleep on Sean Guerrero and what he's putting down there in that program, you are a fool. So don't let that score, fool you. South Range is a very tough team. It's a division up for Springfield, and we saw them lose to South Range last year and still put together a very strong season after that. So Springfield, don't let that score fool you. They're going to be a very good football program this year, and they have a lot to look forward to. We look at Beaver Local taking on Struthers, and it was Struthers getting the win 37-20. That one a little bit surprising for some people. I know a lot of people were high on Beaver Local this year with Austin Klein coming back for another year as the quarterback, an explosive offense a year ago. But Struthers was a team last year that dealt with a lot of adversity and came through the other end of it, grew a lot last year, and they're not taking anything for granted this year. They proved that in this game over Beaver Local, 37-20. Struthers gets the win over the Beavers. Very impressive there. We saw Garfield take on the Portage County rival Middlefield Cardinal, and it was all Garfield. They want to be the bullies in Division 5 this year, and they're looking to be that exactly with a 42-0 win in Game 1, dominating fashion. Garfield with Keegan Sell returning. They're going to be a team that you cannot ever take lightly. They're going to pound you. They're going to be very physical. And like I said, with Keegan Sell running that offense, then you're going to be feeling it after you play Garfield. I'll tell you that. You're going to be knowing on Saturday afternoon that you played Garfield on Friday night. We go down to Edison, who had a strong season last year. They get right back to it. 34-14, they win over Monroe Central in the first game of the season for the Wildcats. We go back up to the top of the scoreboard, and we see the Cardinal Mooney played a thriller with Minter Lake Catholic back and forth the whole time, but Mooney gets to win 29-26 to open up the campaign, and that defense is what people are going to be talking about all year, and they're going to hold a lot of teams under 30. They're going to hold a lot of teams under 20 even, and Cardinal Mooney's defense made the stops when they had to in this game. It was big for them, and it's going to be big for them all year, and they get the win there, 29-26. How about Ashtabula Lakeside? They had a tough season last year. They get a win under their belt in Week 1 over East Lake North, 22-14. The Dragons on top there. Happy to see Lakeside get to the 1-0 mark on the season. Lakeview gets a big start. Remember last year they had a great non-conference season with the first 3 wins of the year under their belt last year. Struggled a little bit in the conference, but they're looking to get momentum again this year. 41-14, they get the win over LeBray. A big win for the Bulldogs as they continue to build momentum in that football program that was winless just 2 years ago. And, you definitely had strides last year, and they'll continue to stride this year. How about the Potters taking it to Minerva 50-0, East Liverpool, all over the Lions there in Week 1. How about this one, though? You see McDonald getting a win over Southern, a big win for the Blue Devils. Not a score that you see too often, 25-22. And McDonald, that was probably one of the surprises of the night. I know McDonald had been quote-unquote down the last couple of years, and Southern obviously had such a good season last year. But 2 teams that love to run the ball, love to be physical, and McDonald gets on top of that, and they are traditionally a very good football program. And I am not shocked that they're trying to resurge themselves as one of the dominant forces in this small school picture here in the Valley. So McDonald gets a big win over Southern Local, 25-22, final score there. We saw Valley Christian beat Crestview 30-12 there. Valley Christian, they lost a couple of key pieces to graduation, but their athleticism still reigns true, 30-12 over the Rebels in that game. We saw Malvern beat Western Reserve in Week 1, 26-7 there. We go up to the top. Latonia got beat by Fairport Harding, 47-6. You see Ashtabula St. John get beat by Trinity. Final score there was 38-6. Liberty and Edgewood. Look at that. I think, if I'm not mistaken, that was the biggest score of the night. Edgewood's offense unloads for 58 on Liberty. 58-20, the final score there. Liberty, they always have this way about the season where they start off slow, and then at the end of the year, they're in some games that are really important for playoff seeding. I think we talked about it a year ago. 5 of the last 6 years, they've ended the season with a 500 record. They're a very, hit or miss team, struggling with consistency over the last couple of years, and I think that night proves it. They obviously were able to score a couple of times, get 20 points on the board, but consistency in that game against Edgewood, we'll see what Liberty does next week. We go down to Poland, dominating Salem on the road, 38-6. Bulldogs get the win, and it is the running back crew of Poland that did all the damage for the Bulldogs. Their running backs are a very good room this year. They've always been a team that loves to run the ball, but this year they're going to be able to do it really efficiently, and with a lot of experience in that backfield. Poland looks to be a resurgent. They were a very dominant team not too long ago in the NE8, and now they're trying to get back to that spot and maybe take down the big dogs of last year, who were obviously Girard and South Range, finishing 1 and 2 in that conference. We go to Camel, big win over St. Thomas Aquinas, a big win for the Red Devils, who are looking for momentum in their program. 30-0, both sides of the ball dominating, scoring a bunch on offense and then pitching the shutout on defense. A great win for Campbell there. We saw United get the big win, 41-6 over Waterloo. A good start for the Eagles in that one. Boardman went on the road to Kinston, and the Bombers were not messing around. 50-13, they beat Boardman in that game. Let's go over to the final column here on our scoreboard for Friday night. Don't reach that far. Let me see if I'm this far. Come on in. Get back to the work, and we go back to the top, and it was orange all over Beechwood. 49-0. A great turnaround for the Lions. That is go Big O. And the Lions get the win. There's a lot of excitement for that program, obviously. They had a tough year last year, but they get things started in a hurry in this one on week 1. 49-0 over Beechwood there for the win. Hubbard and East played a defensive battle. That is no shocker. Hubbard's been one of the premier defenses in the area for the last several years, and it looks like their defense is going to be winning them some games again this year. 10-6, the final score there. We saw Lisbon get the win over Wyndham, 41-6, a big win for the Blue Devils as they start their season 1-0. This was the game that we were talking about, a game-winning play for Middle Ridge to win 29-22 over Pymatuning Valley. They score in the last drive, and they get the exciting victory over the Lakers, and a good win for the Rams here to go 1-0 on the season. Wellsville drops to 0-1 with a 37-6 loss to Steubenville Central Catholic. This Canfield-West Branch game was not as much of a blowout as the score may seem. Obviously, Canfield wins 38-19. They had a fantastic fourth quarter. But after a rocky start for West Branch, when Bo Alvazos, who I am really high on, he threw a pick in his first drive, put West Branch in a little bit of a hole. They were down 10-0 after Canfield's opening drive field goal and then scoring the touchdown after that interception. West Branch started to claw back. They stayed in a one-possession game all the way to the end of the third quarter, and then Canfield just put on the afterburners in the fourth, were able to dominate the fourth quarter and get the 38-19 decisive victory. But I think West Branch has a lot to build on. That's a very tough first opponent of the year. Canfield could make another deep run in the state tournament. Obviously, they're the reigning state champions. That is no slouch at all. I think West Branch is going to see a lot on film that is going to excite them this year. about things they can accomplish, especially in the EBC. I think they're eyeing that conference, saying that they have every chance to win the EBC again this year. And I think Bo Alasah showed a lot of character coming back from that first interception and then being able to play a really good game after that, finding a couple of touchdown passes through the air. And he's going to be, once again, a very good quarterback, replacing Drew Shields, who graduated a season ago. Last but not least, we saw Norway beat Brookfield 59-7, a tough one for the Warriors, who, like a lot of teams that we're talking about, lost a lot of key players from a year ago, trying to find the new identity for their football program, and it's going to take them a little bit to do it as Norway gets to win 59-7 once again, the score here against Brookfield. Let's go to Saturday real quick and talk about the games that happened over the weekend. On Saturday, we had a multiple sports there. You see, we had one football game. Hoban destroys the reigning state champion in Kentucky, 45-6, excuse me. For people that don't know, the state of Kentucky does not do things like the state of Ohio does, where we break down in divisions and we have, 5 or 6 state champions. Kentucky has one state champion in their high school athletics because of how the schools are kind of broken down and the way that their cities have a lot of big schools in the Louisville and the Lexington area, and then it's pretty dense outside of that. So they have just the one state championship for all their sports. So this is the state champion for Kentucky, period. The only state champion for Kentucky. And Archbishop Hoban just rums right through them pretty easily, 45-6. This was billed as one of the best games maybe of the year, as some people thought. And the Knights weren't having it. They're angry. They got to the state championship game last year. They fell a little bit short, and they want to get right back to it, and that can make a team dangerously hungry, and that's what they look like here in week 1. A massive victory for the Knights. 45-6 the final again over Lexington Frederick from Kentucky, the reigning Kentucky state champions. We go to volleyball. There were a lot of try matches, so that's why you see 2-set victories in these matchups. LeBray was able to beat Niles 2-0. We saw Champion get the first win of their try match. They swept Pymatuning Valley 2-0. West Branch got the win over South Range 2-0. They also beat Southeast 2-0 to win their try match. We saw Struthers take it to Niles 2-0 in their try match there. So after Niles falls to LeBray, Struthers beats them again. So 2-0 there. Niles finishes 0-2 in that try match. Then we have Earthland beating Brookfield with a 3-set victory. This was a normal match. We saw Heartland Christian and Lordstown have no score reported. Champion and Warren JFK met, both undefeated at the time. JFK sweeps the Flashes 2-0 there. South Range bounces back from losing to West Branch. They beat Southeast 2-0 in that first match of the season for the Raiders. So we had a couple of teams get their season started pretty nicely. Also not on this scoreboard, but because it was out of town. But Boardman got the win over North Canton Hoover on the road in 4 sets, 3-1. Just a one match. They were not playing in a try match. They just played Hoover in a conventional volleyball match. So Boardman also gets the win on the road, 3-1, to open the new era of volleyball in Boardman. No longer coached by Alyssa Birch, but now coached by Rachel Calvin. So Boardman gets the win to start their season for the volleyball. We'll go to boys soccer. We saw Hudson, who's a very good soccer team. They took it to Boardman 6-0. That's a very young Boardman team under a brand new head coach, trying to figure out an identity. We see a lot of programs and a lot of sports trying to do the same, and that's a very tough opponent to play in that situation early in the season. Howland boys soccer, well, here's a news flash. They're pretty dang good at soccer. 7-0, they get the win over Lakeview. We saw Orange get a very narrow victory over Hubbard. A very rare YSN matchup in Orange there. 1-0 the final score there for that boys soccer matchup. Ursuline and South Range boys soccer battled to a tie. Neither one could score on the other. It's a 0-0 draw to end that game. And then Archbishop Hoban, they got the win over North Royalton, 2-1, the final score in boys soccer there. Some girls soccer action yesterday as well, as we saw Hubbard and Beaver Local go at it. Hubbard gets the win 5-1 there. Springfield girls soccer opens their brand new season on a brand new turf field with a rout of South Range, 11-0 there. We see the Hudson Explorers, they beat Howland 3-0. Salem loses to United 3-0 there. And then Boardman beats Willoughby South in girls soccer 3-0. A lot of 3-0 scores, 3-0 as we talk soccer, and that's 0 and soccer is 0. So that's going to do it for the scores over the weekend. I know I had a lot to catch up on being on vacation last week, but those were how it went down. That's what our Mondays are going to kind of look like. We're going to have a lot of scores to break down on Mondays now with the return of fall sports. So we're going to break down and recap all the action, and I'll give you my most honest opinion on what happened over the weekend. So those are your weekend recaps here on Running Point. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we have a volleyball season preview to play for you with the head coach of the Poland volleyball team, who is opening up their season tonight, Aaliyah Diamond. That coming up after this break on Running Point, brought to you as always by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Back in a bit.
21 News delivers the news as it happens, using the latest technology from where it happens.
Live here outside the Mahoney County.
On air, online,
Wednesday afternoon weather update.
Very dangerous.
and on the 21 News social media platforms.
I'm on the road right now.
21 News, the Valley's only locally owned source for trusted news since 1953.
Craftsmanship to us is 60 years of pride and dedication.
Passed down from generation to generation.
The hardwood floors that your kids take their first steps on.
The solid wood doors you quietly close at night.
The things we create day in and day out are the products that end up turning your house into a home.
At Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods, uncompromising quality and craftsmanship built our business.
And it will keep us moving forward for generations to come.
Going the extra mile at Greenwood Chevrolet means we want to take care of the community that takes care of us too.
And we have to work together always. And that's how you stay in business for 40 years.
You know, I love being a helper because when I help somebody, it makes me feel good.
It means a lot that I can make a difference in others' lives.
So I will do everything I can and just being there for them every step of the way.
I want them to know within the first 5 minutes that they could depend on me. That's what going the extra mile means, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Before the lights come on, before the workday begins, before a long day is ended, or it's time to have fun. It all starts with the people at Joe Dickey Electric. From replacing a light fixture in your home to building a substation for your business, no job is too big or too small. The people of Joe Dickey Electric power them all. Joe Dickey Electric, over 60 years of powering the Mahoning Valley.
As Comco celebrated 70 years in 2022, we have much to be thankful for. We are proud of the Comco culture as we serve our customers with Comco Care with our premier customer service, quality parts, and on-time delivery. The partnerships we have with our customers and our community are second to none. We thank you for your continued support. We are proud to be part of this community and will continue to offer great jobs for great people.
Change. This one word can make you break out in a cold sweat. But with change comes wisdom, experience, and understanding. At Myers Family Insurance, we can help make changes in Medicare, insurance, and retirement a positive experience for you and your family. We've gone through changes, like our new office and new faces to help our family of clients too.
For all your Medicare needs, call Myers Family Insurance. Check us out online at myersfamilyins.com or find us on Facebook.
Your culinary adventure awaits at Legends Food and Drink. Experience a welcoming ambiance while you explore our appetizing menu featuring over 20 meals under $20 and over 30 lunches for $12 or less. Our private dining room seat between 10 and 20 at no additional cost. And don't forget our spacious 35-seat bar for your favorite sporting event. Book your special occasion in our elegant banquet room that seats up to 150 comfortably. Legends Food and Drink, a taste you'll remember. Market Street and Route 224 in Boardman.
And welcome back to Running Point on ysnlive.com, brought to you as always by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. First day back, and I pointed the right direction. If you follow Running Point, that is a running joke that we have, trying to see if Anthony will point the right way to point to Greenwood Chevrolet on the screen. Top right corner there, you can see they're our presenting sponsor. We thank them for their constant support and sponsorship of this show. Since day one, they've never wavered. There have been a lot of changes, twists and turns to Running Point, and they've always been our proud presenting sponsor. We continue to thank them for that. So with all that being said, we have a volleyball season preview to get to. Head coach of the Poland volleyball team, Aaliyah Diamond, was able to join me before I left for vacation, and she and the Bulldogs start their season tonight against Western Reserve. It's a big matchup for them because not only are they kicking off their season, but also across the way on the other bench is Aaliyah Diamond's mom, Chrissy Hughes. So it's going to be a little bit of a Shakespearean battle between mother and daughter tonight, Western Reserve and Poland. Going to be a fun one. I'll be in the building for that. And here is the head coach of the Bulldogs, Aaliyah Diamond, on what their season might look like. Anthony Hartwig here with a Poland volleyball coach's corner and a season preview. I'm joined by Aaliyah Diamond. Aaliyah, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today.
Thanks for having me.
You got it. And our first thing to do is just a kind of a meet the team segment. I want you to go through your roster, give us the big names that are going to make an impact for you this year on the court, and maybe some new names that Poland fans should know about.
Yeah, so this year we have a lot of new people, new faces. We graduated 9 seniors last year, so that's definitely, we have a lot more people now kind of going to contribute to the court. Our seniors, I have Bella Corey, she's a libero, Maya Scott, a setter, and Nadia Zarbaugh, she's an outside right side hitter, kind of wherever we need her, she's willing to fill in. Other players that returners last year, Olivia Meinhardt was a sophomore who's going to be a junior this year returning. Other juniors, I have Aubrey Zimmers as a middle, Lucienne Hops as a setter, Hannah Kessler, and then I have some sophomores that are also gonna, like I said, we got a lot of people coming in to fill in. So there's Avery Jakubovic, Leanna Bacheri, Gianna Costello, Emerson Goman, and I have a freshman, Izzy Greco, that is definitely gonna help us out this year, along with some others, like I said, JV players that, like I said, we got a whole new team really this year, so I'm excited to see how we do.
When graduating so many seniors, I think one of the things you probably see are footprints of them and things that they taught these girls that are coming back. How much of a footprint and a handprint do you see last year's seniors' leadership on this team now going forward?
I see it, just like I said, with a lot of good leaders last year. Like, now that the juniors and seniors are stepping up, they're able to show like that leadership that they had. So just with that on the court, like just talking, communicating, trying to be that good example from last year is definitely going to be helpful.
I guess the big question now after losing all those leaders is who are you going to lean on this year to be those leaders, to be those vocal people on the court that kind of serve as your second coach out there?
Like I said, that's something we're working on, just because we don't have a lot of experience on the varsity court. So, but people I've been leaning on right now, definitely my 3 seniors, Bella Corey, Nadia Zarbaugh, Maya Scott, and they're doing a good job of stepping up, getting to that role. But that's definitely something we're working on to continue, because everyone knows that communication is definitely a big part of volleyball. So again, it's just part of practicing, just like we do with all the other skills.
All right, let's talk about your schedule inside the NE8. It's been a really good conference, for as long as you've been at Poland. Lakeview and Girard have definitely been at the top of that list, but you have a lot of other teams that are starting to build towards trying to compete with them. How do you see the league shaking out this year? What do you feel about it? And what are some things that you think are going to be key to winning it this year?
Like I said, our league is definitely a tough league. Like I said, Lakeview and Girard have definitely been at the top of it the last couple of years, and they're always good teams that I'm always excited to play, go see how we do, compete. But like I said, our whole league is competitive. I truly believe like there's really not a game. Every game we go into, we got to come up and show up to play. And it's going to be a good game. It's going to be competitive, long volleys back and forth. So where I'm not too sure where I see us in the league when we look at it, but I think definitely we can compete and see where it goes from there. Again, obviously the goal is to be in that top half of that league and be able to compete with everyone. But we'll see how it goes. Like I said, just because everyone's so competitive and all these programs everyone's built such a good program. And like I said, there's not really anyone like every game you have to really prepare for and really go in with your best.
Do you think having a lot of new players gives you kind of a little bit of an advantage against these conference teams, seeing that there's not a lot of scouting report on a lot of your players? So you're going to go in there knowing all you know about your team because you've been spending a lot of time with them, but these other coaches are going to know not too much about the players you're putting on the floor.
That could be for sure. Definitely. Like I said, I know film now with everyone's access. It definitely makes it, you see it. We can do that with scouting reports, see what we have. But I could see that being one. Like I said, just because I really only have 2 people that have consistently played varsity in the past return. So it's definitely, like I said, we're really going to be like a whole new team this year and excited to see how we do.
Take any advantage you can get, Coach. I don't care what it is. One of the things we also have to talk about with your schedule is the non-conference. So that's just as important. You guys do play in a pretty large conference, but it's still got some wiggle room to get some other teams in there. Who are some other teams outside of the NE8 that you're excited to square up against and test your team against?
A couple teams, like just off the top of my head, I can think of. Our first game is against Western Reserve at home. So that's our home opener. So that'll be a good game to look at. I know other teams we play Boardman, Canfield. We're going to play Camel this year. I'm excited that will be a new team that we're playing this year on our schedule. Springfield, we played them last year, and I'm excited to play them again. We added Howland, so we're going to play Howland at the end of the season. Like I said, just off the top of my head, those are the teams I can think about. Champion, we're playing them again. Like I said, just other teams that we're trying to continue to build our schedule and see how we do against them.
Normally, we'd ask you about the first game at the end of the interview, but this is a big first game because it's mom versus daughter. And we talked to your mom yesterday, actually. We asked her the same questions about what it's going to be like seeing you on the other side of the court. First time that it counts. I know you guys have scrimmaged against each other. Mm-hmm. What's it going to be like to, compete against your mom and obviously all the lessons that she taught you and probably try to use some of those lessons against her now?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely going to be fun. It's definitely a game our family's looking forward to. Everyone's excited to come out and watch just to see, like I said, going up against my mom, my sisters, and it'll be, like I said, it's something we're all excited for. But when it comes down to volleyball, like I said, we've scrimmaged them. I think it's going to be a competitive game, and I'm just trying to prepare my team the best we can to go up against them.
Do you feel like you're the family underdog because there's 2, you have 2 family members on that bench and you're the only one on your bench? So maybe your family's leaning a little bit towards Western Reserve and you have to go and have the chip on your shoulder a little bit.
That could be a little bit for sure.
One of the things I also asked your mom about are other things that your family gets really competitive. What are some things from your perspective that you've competed with your mom and sister against, whether it be backyard sports, family game nights? What are some things that you guys get really competitive with in your family?
Yeah, I mean, we always go outside and play backyard games at my parents' house. And so that's definitely something that we're always competitive with. We do that pretty often, especially in the summer with it being so nice. So I would say that's definitely probably what we do the most out there.
I've been told that you're turning into a pretty good spike ball player. Is this true?
Yeah, we got spike ball a couple years ago. I haven't played it in a while. We've been doing some other games, but that's definitely one of our favorites that we like to play.
All right, so going and talking more about your team, you have a lot of new faces like we've been talking about. One of the things I want to ask is, what has team chemistry and building team chemistry been like this summer with so many new faces, so many girls that are stepping into bigger spots? How have they handled coming together as a unit and trying to, build that chemistry with each other?
I know our team, they definitely try to do stuff outside of just coming to volleyball practice every day. So like I said, that's something that's helped them just get to know each other more. Being on the court, like I said, you can tell there's still instances where maybe we're not too sure what to do because just like I said, we haven't played together that much. But we're working on it. We're getting better. And like I said, just trying to talk through that and be like, it's okay to make a mistake. It's okay to do this or that. Like I said, as long as you talk through it, we figure it out. Don't do the same thing twice. So it's definitely, like I said, been a learning experience for a lot of the girls. But it's been good. Like I said, so far I'm pretty happy with how we've been doing. As long as they're playing hard, working together, I said good things are going to happen. So feeling good.
Before you took the job, Poland volleyball was kind of begging for consistency. They had a lot of coaches to stay for like 1 year and then go, and 1 year and go, 1 year and go, and really hard to build a program like that. Now that you've been sustained and you're in a year where you can really see your culture starting to build, how much have you seen this program grow and kind of buy into what you want it to be since you took over the job?
Like I said, I definitely have seen a lot different. Just with the younger kids coming up. Like this year, we actually have 10 freshmen, which I'm excited about. A lot of them are playing JV. But that's definitely, I think, a factor of that, just trying to be around the kids more, getting them excited about volleyball. Like I said, just to have 10 freshmen come out, I think that's awesome. In order for them just to, like I said, just to grow the love of the sport. So just being able to be around the 7th and 8th grade coaches, being able to go to their practices and kind of see that effect later on now I'm kind of seeing like the kids, my seniors were freshmen when I first started. So I said, not having to explain so much because they know it has definitely been a lot easier and more helpful being with that program.
Before we let you go, I want to give you the chance to shine a light on all the people behind the scenes that make this Poland program what it is, your coaching staff and anyone else really that is helping you along. So go through your coaching staff, give them some time in the sun.
So my JV coach and varsity assistant coach is Dylan Bosella. He's been with me the last 4 years. In 8th grade, I have Elise Dean. This will be her 2nd year back. In 7th grade, Mark Wazlowski. He's been doing this for longer than I've been around. I believe it's his 13th or 14th season. I don't know off the top of my head with the 7th grade. So he's been doing good. And then also we have Mr. Banfield, our athletic director, who helps us schedule and do all that too, which is very helpful as well.
All right, Coach, we wish you the best of luck going forward. Like we said earlier, Poland's first game is August 21st at home against Western Reserve. So Poland fans, make sure to get out there. Coach, we thank you for your time and giving us a solid preview. We can't wait for the season, and we also can't wait to talk to you again real soon.
Thanks again. Thanks for having me.
Head coach of the Poland Bulldogs volleyball team, Aaliyah Diamond. What a great interview it was with her. And one of the things that I love about that conversation, I asked her about it as well, being able to see a program and a culture be built now in year 3 as the head coach of the Poland volleyball team. That is the longest anyone has stayed at Poland volleyball as a head coach in a long time. I mean, like I said, in that interview, they have been begging for consistency as the head coach. It seems like for a long time it'd be, 1 year gone, 1 year gone, 1 year gone, 2 years gone, maybe. And it's really hard to build a program like that. Now Aaliyah Diamond is in year 3, and she can really start to see the players that are buying into their program, buying into the culture, and what she wants that program to be starting to build up. And that's what's really exciting about this Poland volleyball team moving forward. I think you're going to see it a lot from this freshman class, who had a very impressive and very successful 8th grade season. Right now, she said that a lot of them are going to be on JV. It's a 10-player freshman class, but I wouldn't be surprised if a couple of them maybe step into varsity not too long from now. I mean, these are very good volleyball players in the 8th grade level. I had a chance to watch them a couple of times in the 8th grade tournaments last year that were going on right before varsity would go on. So I'd head over to the middle school gym at Girard and check out their tournament. Poland has a very good freshman volleyball class in its ranks. And I think a couple of those freshmen could step up and make really big impacts on varsity before it's all said and done this year. And if not this year, then definitely next year. It's a very exciting time for Poland volleyball right now. And the big reason why is because they have consistency at the top now, which is why it's so much easier to build a culture and build a program. So I really like what Poland's doing. I think they're going to have a great season, but it's really tough in game 1 going up against this Western Reserve team that is chomping at the bit to make another deep tournament run and trying to win that MVAC Scarlet tier that is so good. And they're testing themselves right off the jump with a upper division school in Poland. We talked about the family connections. Obviously, Aaliyah Diamond's mom is the head coach at Western Reserve, Chrissy Hughes. But don't forget that little sister is also a senior on that Western Reserve team, Olivia Hughes. And then Alexis Hughes, Aaliyah Hughes' middle sister, is on the coaching staff with Chrissy Hughes. So it's a big family affair, and I'm wondering what side of the net that family that isn't on the court going to lean, because you have 3 Hughes on one side and just one on the other. So it might be hard to split right down the middle, right? So very excited to see the family affair. I will be in the field house tonight for that one. Poland versus Western Reserve to open up the volleyball season for both the teams. Let's take a look at the rest of the schedule today as we go back to the Ysn scoreboard page. Once again, brought to you, I'm going to scroll up, brought to you, as you can see, but I didn't share the screen, excuse me. I got to share it so you can see what I see. You don't just watch Anthony looking at the screen. That's kind of boring. Let's bring up the scores page. As you can see, brought to you now by Burnett Pools. And Hot Tubs, Spas and Hot Tubs. We want to thank them for their new sponsorship, and they are the presenting sponsor of our scoreboard page, where you can go and see live scores throughout the night of any sport, any day. Make sure to check out our live scoreboard page while you're watching. Maybe if you're watching one game, you want to keep track of the score of another one, you want to see what's going on down there, make sure to tune in to the scoreboards page. Let's look at what's happening tonight, as we have volleyball, kind of a quiet night compared to what most Mondays will be, as somewhat more teams get their season started. And we'll see by the end of tomorrow night, every volleyball program will have at least one game under their belt. But here's what tonight looks like. Yes, we have that Poland Western Reserve game. That'll be on YSN. I will be on the call there for the family affair between Coach Hughes, Coach Diamond, Olivia Hughes, Alexis Hughes. They'll all be there for this big matchup tonight in Poland. Also on the network tonight for volleyball, we have the Southern Indians getting started with a matchup with St. John Central. Chris Sigler will be on the call there. Southern Local going to be a team that is returning nearly everybody, and most importantly, their setter Riley Malott, who was one of the statistically best setters of the year last year, put up ungodly numbers from the setter position, and she's back for another year with the Indians offense. Zach Swinson will be in Hubbard as the Eagles take on East tonight in volleyball as well. And then we also will have the Springfield and Moody game. Eric Hughes and Noah Doty will be on the call there. Also going on tonight, we see Niles taking on Lordstown. Wyndham will be taking on Champion, and Jefferson will be taking on Orange in volleyball action today. We scroll over, we see the Columbiana boys soccer making the trip to Middle Ridge. Take them on, and then Crestview boys soccer traveling to West Branch. That should be a fun game between two really good programs down there in Columbiana County. We look at the girls soccer. Springfield off of that big win over South Range. They'll test themselves again at home tonight against Salem. Howland versus West Branch should be a very good game for them. Howland sporting a very good offense featuring Ava Yanucci. And then, of course, West Branch has been a very dominant program over the last several seasons. And they're looking to do the same thing this year. Battle of 224 in girls soccer as Poland takes on Canfield in Canfield, 7 p.m. kickoff there. And then we also have Ursuline taking on Austintown Fitch. So that's going to be an exciting night of soccer and volleyball. Make sure to tune into ysnlive.com/live to check out any of the games that are going to be on the network. And then once again, head over to our scoreboard page here to check out the final scores after it's all said and done. Also tonight, going on in the network along with these games, we have the Boardman's athletic show at the Bunker/Double Bogey with DJ Yoakley going to be down there, and that'll feature a ton of Boardman interviews with a ton of Boardman athletes. Last week was a great starter for the Boardman Sports Show at Double Bogies in the Southern Park Mall. So If you are a Boardman fan, make sure to get down there with DJ Oakley. He'll be there with Boardman Spartan Athletics for another wonderful Spartan party. Party in the Sparty. I'm going to go with that. That's what I'm going to be calling it. So it's going to be a fun night with Boardman Athletics once again at Double Bogies and the Bunker down there at the Southern Park Mall. We have shows all week. This, like last week, Austin Town Fitch will have the show at Sam's Wedge Inn. Tomorrow we're going to have Springfield and South Range, both with their shows. Springfield at the Tigers Table, South Range will have their show. Wednesday we'll have Camel and Canfield. Thursday, we're going to have Austin Town Fitch sports show. So we'll have sports shows throughout the week to go along with great action on the network every day this week as well. With that being said, that will do it for today's episode of Running Point. I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in today. We will be back tomorrow with more volleyball coaches' corners and a recap of tonight's action as well. Make sure to tune in tomorrow from 1 to 2. Power Hour has you on today from 3 to 4. I'm sure DJ will talk about the weekend, but he'll also be, I assuming, bringing up the power rankings that came out yesterday for football. And it was a very interesting power rankings. All points based, no opinions in there. Strictly based on the computer points these football teams get. And then maybe a little bit of adjusted to the Ysn schools. But that's all fun to see how the power rankings will shape up. And it's a very interesting week 1 of power rankings. Not what you'd expect, I'll tell you that much. If you haven't checked it out, go into our social media pages and check out the power rankings and also listen to them being talked about throughout the week, whether it be on this show, whether it be on Power Hour. I'm sure they'll be brought up on the sports shows, and I'm sure they'll also be brought up on the Friday edition of Power Hour where we pick all the games. But once again, that'll do it for today's episode of Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austin Town. I'll be back tomorrow from 1 to 2. Have a great night, everybody. Enjoy some volleyball and soccer on the network, as well as the Boardman Athletics Sports Show